Over this blasted landscape, the Space Wolves will face off against the Drukhari, the Dark Kin, the Dark Eldar. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report, and today I am playing James, who has brought his Space Wolves yet again, this time on the surface of the planet, not up in the asteroid fields. If you want to check out that battle report on the cool themed narrative table, check the link down below. But James is off back to Ireland.
Yes, I am.
And so as a farewell, we've decided to throw down 1,500 points of Space Wolves against 1,500 points of Dark Eldar. So it's a maelstrom of war. We've got the table set up. Let us know what you like about the table, and let's look at the protagonists and antagonists for the match. And here we have 1,500 points of Space Wolves. James, take it away.
Okay, starting on the left, we've got a full squad of Long Fangs. We've got 3 las cannons, 2 plasma cannons, and the Ancient. Then we've got the Rhino for a dedicated transport for the Grey Hunters.
They have a plasma
Special
gun,
weapons, plasma gun and flamer.
Very cool.
And then I've got 2 Primaris Lieutenants, and the Rune Priest with Smite and Stormcaller.
Very cool.
And then I've got a 9-man squad of Intercessors, a 10-man Bloodclaw squad with a Battle Leader with a Power Fist.
So they don't run away.
Hopefully. Then I've got a Las Cannon Predator, Venerable Dreadnought with Close Combat Weapon and Plasma Cannon, 5-man Scout squad with Sniper Rifles and Camo Cloaks.
Okay, so 1,500 points of Space Wolves trying to avenge the death of their lord up in space. Now on to the Drukhari. 1,500 points of Drukhari. Okay, so I've decided to go for a mix of things. If you want to check out the list, you can see the link in the description, as well as the Space Wolf army. So, leading the charge, we have Archon Skari, barely surviving with his life after, in our last battle in the asteroid belt, he got his butt whooped by a Wolf Lord in Terminator armor. So he's back and ready to fight. He's brought a succubus with him, a Slith as a bodyguard so he doesn't get punched anymore. He's got his unit of witches. The Cult of the Bloodied Blade has joined the fight. We have some Cabalite warriors with a lance and a blaster. We have a unit of elite Trueborn with blasters. We've got 2 raiders, one with a lance, one with a disintegrator cannon, a dual cannon venom, a triple lance ravager, a void raven bomber. We also have the Homunculus Coven has sent some Wracks along for the fight, so it's 8 Wracks. The Beastmaster with his whip. We've got 9 Razorwing Flocks, 6 Chimera, and a Clawed Fiend. I'm really happy with the way these guys turned out. I painted them up, so I decided to paint and play and just have a cool, varied looking Drukhari list. Okay, on to deployment. Let us know what you think will happen down below.
You'll get there soon enough.
I will definitely get there. So, on to mission. We are playing the basic Maelstrom of War mission, the first mission, and James did get the last drop on objectives, so he picked his deployment zone. It is Dawn of War deployment, and he picked the one with 1, 2, and 3 objectives. The Aquila, of course, is of import. We have the Oasis, which is important. The high ground near the Prometheum extractor. The high ground on the Cathedral. The supply drop. And, of course, the high ground near the rocky crags. So, the Dark Eldar start deploying first. For anybody who's asking questions, I am using the Imperial Guard Tactical Objectives cards, but when I get the 1 through 16, I'll be using the regular missions just because we didn't have another deck. So we make do with what we got. Okay, on to deployment. Dark Eldar start deploying, and we will be putting one unit and one unit. And the person to finish deploying first will get +1 to the roll to go first. My warlord is Skari, and he has Tenacious Survivor, so he's get to re-roll some saves, while the Space Wolf warlord is the Rune Priest. Cool. Let's begin. And we're back after deployment. The Dark Eldar have deployed Beastmaster, Raise Wings, and Chimera. The Rax with the Succubus in that raider. A Void Raven Bomber, as well as a Clawed Fiend hiding in the shadows. While on this flank, we've got 10 Cabalite Warriors, the Witches with the Slith and the Archon Warlord, Trueborn, and a Ravager in this corner. The Space Wolves have answered in turn. The Grey Hunters in a Rhino. The Long Fangs setting up position on the high ground with the aid of a lieutenant. Venerable Dreadnought, all the Blood Claws in the middle with Mr. Rune Priest, as well as the Intercessors heavy on the flank with their supporting Predator. The Scouts have infiltrated up on the high ground, ready to snipe at any character that shows their face. So, the Space Wolves did indeed finish deploying first by 1 unit. So they will be getting +1 to go first. James, are you ready for this?
I am indeed.
Okay, perfect. Let's roll away, sir. Aha! Oh no, there's no winning. And I rolled a 5, and I will let them go first. Well, I will attempt to seize the initiative, of course.
Of course.
Here is the fateful dice roll. Do the Dark Eldar seize? They do not. And the Space Wolves will take to the battle. We'll see after turn 1 what happens. Space Wolf turn 1. The Space Wolves remained relatively stayed put. The Predator did move forward, as well as the Lieutenant on this flank. Firing from this flank saw the Intercessors kill one of the Razorwing flocks, and the Predator failed to wound the supersonic Void Raven Bomber. The Scouts began the shooting by knocking out 2 of the Cabalite Warriors in that building, as well as the Bloodclaws staying close as they have defend Objective 4, which is right next to the Aquila. The Venerable Dreadnought is advancing forward, plasma cannon blasting, together with other plasma cannon shots here. This Cabalite Warrior unit went from 10 down to 3 models remaining. Other than that, the Rhino is boosting up the flank. Its Stormbolter stripping a hull point, a wound off the Archon's Raider. But the Cabalite Warriors only lost 1 model to morale, and therefore the elusive First Blood has slipped away from the Space Marines, or the Space Wolves, on this first turn. They do, however, have Defend Objective 4 for 2 points, which they should be able to get. They also got Assassinate, and Behind Enemy Lines, which will be hard. The Space James, you get to discard 1 of those cards if you don't think that it'll be easy to achieve. Which one will you discard?
I'm going to discard Assassinate.
Very cool. He doesn't want to have to focus on my characters, and he feels that his Rhino is going to be able to go and get Behind Enemy Lines at some point. Okay, on to the Drukhari. Dark Eldar, turn 1. Dark Eldar, turn 1. Okay, so let's start with this flank, where the Void Raven Bomber that was out of position to drop its bomb just had to move up. And together with the Ravager and this Blaster Cabalite Warrior, destroyed the Rhino that was speeding up the flank, and some terrible rolling saw 4 of the Grey Hunters die in the wreckage. Meanwhile, the Trueborn Blasters blasted into the Venerable Dreadnought, and it is down to 2 wounds remaining. But Dreadnoughts do not degenerate, so he's still up and rolling. My Disintegrator Cannon did kill one of the Bloodclaws defending Objective 4, while I did kill 1 Plasma Cannon and the Longfang Pack Leader as well. In the center of the board, the Razewing Flocks have jumped up with their fly and are just surrounding the scouts, killed 2 in the ensuing combat. And the scouts thought that they were safe, and they're now surrounded by beaks and claws. This is probably the most entertaining part of the turn so far. But
Squish.
the raider, the lance from this raider, failed to do anything to the Predator Annihilator, while the rest of the beasts have advanced to support the Centra push as well. So we're moving on to Space Wolves turn 2. The Space Wolves do succeed in defending Objective 4 for 2 points. I did get first blood, I killed a Rhino for no prisoners, and I did kill a Rhino for Big Game Hunter. So we're 3 points to the Dark Eldar, 2 points to the Space Wolves, and we're moving on to Space Wolf turn 2. Space Wolf turn 2. So the Space Wolves got behind enemy lines, and they were able to hold the line. Meanwhile, the Intercessors moved up, killing 1 of the puppies because I rolled really well for invols and they rolled terrible for wounding. And the Predator put 3 wounds on that Raider. Meanwhile, the scouts all died to the Razewing Flocks as I got a good round of rolls and killed them. The Bloodclaws have moved and advanced together with the Lieutenant and the Venerable Dreadnought towards the main Dark Eldar line. The Dreadnought failed a charge against the Venom. The Venom has 2 wounds remaining from a combination of plasma cannon fire and plasma gunfire, while the Void Raven Bomber took 3 last cannon shots and survived as the invulnerable save that it had to take held true. So we are moving on to Dark Eldar turn 2. And now the Razorwings are free to go around and do some nasty stuff. James did decide to discard Domination because he thinks that would be very hard to do, and I agree. I have Kingslayer in play, and they've asked me to defend Objective 5 and to number 13, which I'll check that one in a second. Dark Eldar turn 2. The Dark Eldar went on the offensive on this flank. I did get defend Objective 5, so the Cablite Warriors have consolidated their position on the flank. The Ravager advanced, trying to get in range of the Predator on the flank on the other side, but rolled low, so he wasn't able to get his lances into range. 5 of the Grey Hunters have gone down, thanks to blasters and venom, but the 1 Flamer is alive. Meantime, in combat and shooting, the Witches, Slith, and Warlord charged in, killing all the Bloodclaws, while the Raider charged in to deny Overwatch and is tying up the Lieutenant in combat. The Void Raven Bomber did launch its bomb and wipe out the rest of the Long Fangs that were in the backfield, while the Razorwings, having dispatched of the scouts, have decided to move up and surround the enemy Warlord. Death by 1,000 cuts, trying to gain me Kingslayer, at least hold him in place until the Witches and the Archon can come and take over. I tried to tie up the Intercessor squad with my Clawed Fiend. The Clawed Fiend, because they have 2 damage each, 2 damage attacks, so damage 2 attacks, killed 1 Intercessor and then died to the return combat, while my Raider did lose a wound in Overwatch, but charged into the Predator and put a wound on the Predator as well in shooting, meaning that the Predator cannot shoot next turn, while the Chimera have moved back to secure Objective 3, which is this one here. because it's number 13. Secure objective 3. So I am going to take secure objective 3. I'm currently in play with defend objective 5. And we're moving on to the third Space Wolf turn. Space Wolf turn 3. The Intercessors moved up from this area of the battlefield, shot into the witches, killing 2 of them at long range because my witches are toughness 4 with their drugs, and charged into the Beastmaster. They did put 1 wound on the birds, but did kill the Beastmaster. He still has to attack, by the way. And
no, he's on the wound too. Your board.
Oh, okay. And they okay. And then sorry, 1 wound into the bird there, and then he took 1 wound from the birds. This lieutenant took a wound from the raider. The flamer failed to do any damage to that venom, and in combat here, nothing happened. Okay, so no objectives were taken by the Space Wolves. It is turn 3. It's looking relatively grim for the Sons of Russ on the ground here. But let's see what the Dark Eldar are ordered to do. We do defend objective 5 at the end of that turn. We have Kingslayer, and he is surrounded by Razorwing flocks. They've asked us to defend objective 6, which is right next to that raider with the predator, and to secure objective 2. That's what 12 is, which is on the top of the cathedral. Okay, on to the next Dark Eldar turn 3. Dark Eldar turn 3. So, I moved the Chimera in to engage the Predator, but the Chimera did lose 1 more of their models. I was tasked with securing or defending objective 6, so the Raider with the Rax and the Succubus has moved to defend objective 6. I'm giving up objective 3, but that is a price worth to pay to stop that Predator from shooting. The Razorwing flocks jumped away from the combat and did come in to secure objective 2, gaining me another point, while I've maneuvered around here, got the Raider out of whack and to that objective, engaged the Lieutenant, also engaged the Warlord, who survived and killed the Slith in hand-to-hand combat, and Archon Skari is still alive, but he has lost his shadow field, which is not good. The Intercessors did lose a few of their number. There's only 3 of them left, and there are only 5 witches left as well, while the Voidraven Bomber is alive and well. So we move on to Space Wolf turn 4. We have behind enemy lines in play. We have secure objective 3 in play, which you will be able to get, and 1 more card. Let's see how the cookie crumbles. Okay, so turn 4 for the Space Wolves. Saw the Venom explode and kill 3 of the, well, not explode, but kill 3 of the Trueborn as the Lieutenant sliced it down with his power sword.
Of awesomeness.
I know, of awesomeness. My Archon put 1 more wound on the Rune Priest, and the Rune Priest put 1 wound on the Archon with a smite. In the meantime, the Intercessors fighting the Witches suffered 1 more wound, losing a wounded Intercessor in the process. On this flank, the Space Wolves were tasked with securing objective 6, very hard to do with a big raider full of guys on there. And the Chimera have put another wound on this Predator, while this Lieutenant has successfully captured objective 3 for another point. Do you want to get rid of any of your cards?
Probably secure 6 or secure objective 6.
He's getting rid of secure objective 6, and I did get defend objective 6 in my turn. I still have Kingslayer in play, and area denial is 1, and defend objective 4 that happens to be right next to the Aquila lander in the corner there. Moving on to the Drukhari Dark Eldar turn 4, and the power from pain goes into overdrive, and we are no longer affected by morale. Lieutenant get charged by a raider and survive, while Lancers finally took out the last of the Predators. Well, the only Predator. Area denial was drawn, and I was able to score it by killing all the Intercessors. My Witches fell back from combat to take Objective 4 to defend it. The Razorwings are back, and they've surrounded the Warlord. But I failed to do any wounds, and my Archon has taken 2 more wounds. So it is going to turn 5, and I might lose my Archon and lose Warlord again. So that's going to be a small Pyrrhic victory for the Space Wolves. But other than that, it is going on to the end of the game. We do have behind enemy lines, which he will be able to score if he falls back here with that Primaris Lieutenant, plus another 2 cards. So, moving on to what could be the final Space Wolf turn. Turn 5. Space Wolf turn 5. And the Rune Priest survived, but he did not kill Archon Skari, as Archon Skari has survived with 1 wound remaining. Now, I have defended Objective 4, but he did get behind enemy lines and also Master of the Warp for 2 points. He also got Secure Objective 2, which he's going to discard, but that's the second time he's got it with no units nearby to be able to take that objective. So, with Kingslayer in the balance and 1 lieutenant in the back, we're moving into turn 5 for the Dark Kin. Okay, so turn 5 for the Dark Eldar. We had the Lancers kill the last lieutenant, and then Archon Skari, the arrogant Archon Skari, refused to let his witches or his trueborn come into the combat, or he refused to fall back so I could shoot the Rune Priest. He wanted Kingslayer all to himself. So what he tried to do is he attacked, got 2 wounds in with his Agonizer that went through, and then the Tenacious Survivor passed both Tenacious Survivor saves. So the Rune Priest is indeed alive. So we are going to televise the Rune Priest's attacks against Archon Skari. He gets 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, trying to get Archon Skari. So, 1 hit. And he hits on 3s in combat, right?
Yeah.
2s, yeah?
He hits on 3s.
Okay, and needing 3s to wound Archon Skari.
Rolled a 2.
And he rolled a 2, and he has no rerolls, which means that Archon Skari survived yet again. Okay, so I'm gonna let well, James, it's you started the game, so you get to roll to see if the turn ends. On a 1 or 2, it ends, and your Warlord gets away. Oh, it is going to continue, but that also means that he has another chance at killing Archon Skari. Actually, he can shoot Archon Skari with his plasma pistol and then charge in to the Trueborn and essentially potentially wipe out the Trueborn and go on a blinding rampage.
Yeah,
Okay, we shall return after the Rune Priest. Oh, he can smite too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think Skari might die.
He's gonna go all out. Oh no. Oh no, this Rune Priest. Oh no, we'll be back after this. Okay, and the death of the Rune Priest comes as he smites Skari, and Skari's soul gets sucked into the warp. And then he he shot a plasma pistol into the 1 Trueborn. But this Trueborn shot in Overwatch and brought the Warlord down, meaning that with a tabling, the Dark Eldar take victory, but not before the Space Wolves have once again murdered the Dark Eldar Archon in not in single-handed combat, technically. So James, thanks a lot for coming down for the game. That was really fun. I hope you enjoy your trips back to Ireland. And any comments here at the end of the game?
Any comments from myself?
Yeah, any comments at all? Have you played differently?
No, I think I might have preferred having a flyer on the field.
Yeah.
Besides that double 6 roll to save the Rune Priest was like role of the match.
That was great. I can't believe he's been in combat since turn 2. These Razor Wings were my men of the match, just going around, tying everything up, flying around, causing disruption, killing the scouts. Definitely the best men of the match for me. Other than that, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the battle report. Make sure you check the links down below in the description, as well as the first game I played with James on the really cool asteroid table, which is really awesome as well. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, and if you'd like to support the channel, go to Patreon and help me create some content. We've got some cool tiers, rewards, and a tightly knit community. Other than that, this is Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. Skari out.